So this is one of these stories that if you fish long enough and you live long enough, can this actually happen? It happened to my Sage TCR. As you know, I've been a Sage fan and have been using Sage since I was a teenager. Bought my first fly rod, which was the Sage DS, way back in the day. Well, I have another favorite fly rod that I bought 19 years ago, and that was my 5-weight TCR. You've probably seen that rod attached to a whole lot of big fish.
Fish on! Oh yes, dude, it's a bull trout. That is a beautiful fish. Wow! Fish! Big fish. Oh my God! Oh, this is definitely the biggest fish. Look at this thing. Look at that. Look at this beautiful fish. Wow. The size of this fish.
So fast forward till today, I noticed that there was some discoloration happening in the rod. I found that the finish was actually coming off the rod. I mean, literally disintegrating off the rod. And even upon closer inspection, I found that the threads around the guides and around the eyes were literally just starting to decay. So because I live in Washington State, I drove over to Bainbridge Island. Well, I took the ferry boat over to Bainbridge Island, and I went and talked to one of the guys at Sage. And he basically said he was a guide for a while, and he had a pair of waders, and he kept turning them in because they would leak and they would have another problem. And finally the manufacturer said to him, you know what? There's a lifespan, right? And you have reached your lifespan with these waders. So there's just nothing left. So he looked at me, looking at my fly rod, and said, you've essentially used this thing to its lifespan. It's worn out. And what had happened was the coating was coming off, or the UV coating was completely disintegrating on the fly rod. And you could see up by every time there was a wrap, it was starting to decay, and even the wrap was starting to fall apart around the eyes. And then each ferrule had a crack in the blank, and that's just from tons of use. And essentially it was non-repairable. So they said, you know, we can resurrect this fly rod, but we got to take this rod from you. They'll transfer the serial numbers, but it's not going to be the exact same rod. So he could see the look on my face, and he did something pretty cool. He went to the back room and he came out, and it just was like this feeling of, oh my God, I got a little piece of fly rod back with me, so I could at least put it in a shadow box and remember it forever. There it is, right? I mean, you can actually wear out a fly rod, and I did that with my Sage TCR. I completely wore it out. Here it is, just came in today. So this is what's left of the original rod. Yikes. At least I got a piece of it though, you know. I'll have this forever. There she is. I brought the rod tube in, by the way. Oh. Wow. Wow. It has been reborn. Looks good. I tell you, there's just something about that coloration on that rod that I just love. It's just, oh my God, I had a bug fly right here. Yeah. Where was I? I said there's just something super cool about that rod. I mean, it's just a beautiful color. I don't know, I'm sure it becomes really just what you're used to looking at, and all of the memories that I have with that fly rod. So it's pretty cool. So I want to take the opportunity, right? This particular rod back in the day was pushing $1,000, right? And Sage has a good product. I know there's been a few things coming up here and there with Sage, but overall, right, for the 35 years I've been using Sage, they haven't let me down. But they are expensive, right? Premium comes at a cost. And part of the reason why I started my own fly rod company with Neil is that I wanted to make this high-end gear more accessible to everyone, because not everyone has $1,000 to drop on a fly rod. So Neil and I put together a fly rod that has all the high-end components that you'll find in the top-end rods at a price that's 40 to 50% less. And I have to tell you, the feedback that we're getting is what I expected, right? Because we knew we built a great fly rod, but it's also pretty cool to get that validation when people are saying, wow, this thing really is a great fly rod. So if you want to learn more about this fly rod, check out this video right here. It kind of explains the story and just kind of the history behind FFD Rod Company and the Fish On series of rods. All right, well, thanks for tuning in. Until the next time, fish on.